What's doing, everybody? Today is Thursday, October 3rd. Donald Trump blasts the DOJ for unsealing court documents so close to the election. Kamala Harris throws a mere bag of shells at hurricane victims. And actor Kevin Sorbo joins me on the podcast. I'm Alec Lace. This is The Alec Lace Show.
The American family is under attack. Parents are the underdog of this nation. Your children are being indoctrinated. That's right. Your children. They do not belong to the state. They do not belong to the school system. They belong to you, the parents, as a blessing from God our Father. So let's preserve, protect, and fight for the American family together. You're listening to the Alec Lace Show. The future is family.
All right, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the Alec Lace Show. I'm happy and honored, as always, to be here with you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching the broadcast live on Rumble, please get down there in the live chat. Don't forget to share the broadcast so we get as many people in here. Like, comment, and don't forget, wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, subscribe, get involved in the comment section, and share the broadcast with everybody in your network or in your neighborhood. If you missed out on yesterday's, I'm going to give you guys 3 episodes a week leading up to the election, which is now only 33 days away. Yesterday on the podcast, I had Congressman Tim Burchett and Congressman Warren Davidson stop by. We talked all about the vice presidential debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, which was a clinic that was put on by J.D. Vance. Everybody, including the left-wing media, had to agree with that. Tim Walz even made some things worse today. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I wanted to start out with this. I'm going to have actor Kevin Sorbo here in just a few minutes, so please stick around for that. But this really set Trump on fire yesterday. This judge, what's her name here? Judge Chukin released Jack Smith's filings in this case. Now, let me tell you, break it down as I understand it. If you know better, please hit me down there in the chat, because some of this stuff gets a little bit of the legalese for me, is a little bit difficult, but this seems kind of cut and dry. Basically, what happened is this election interference case, which has already been thrown out by the Supreme Court, stating that Donald Trump has presidential immunity. So the Supreme Court granted that he has some presidential immunity. So Jack Smith had to go back to the drawing board to try to revive this case, and he came up with the same 4 charges, but he's going to do it with Trump as a civilian. So he's hitting civilian Donald Trump, not President Donald Trump, with these same charges. So this thing had to go before a grand jury. So they have all these documents involved with this case that should not be released until after the election. And so they decided to release them. Not only did they release them, they released 165 pages worth. So let me read this to you from Breitbart. Judge Chukin allowed Smith to file a mammoth 165-page motion, which Smith used to rehash in the official court documents political attacks and Democrat grievances against Trump yet to be proven in court. So none of this stuff has gone through court yet. Now it's available to all the public just 33 days before the election. Smith's motion includes one-sided allegations that turn on Trump's state of mind, repeating that Trump's claims regarding the election were knowingly false and deceitful without allowing the possibility that Trump believed what he said. Everybody knows that Donald Trump has stated from the beginning that the election was stolen. They're trying to claim here is that Trump knew that he lost the election and was just saying that he believed he lost the election. So this is whether you have to rule on what Trump was really thinking. Did Trump really know he lost and was just trying to put on a facade that he didn't lose? I think everyone knows that Trump has been adamant from day one that he did not lose that election. So anyway, regardless of all of this, Jack Smith, this guy was appointed unconstitutionally to begin with. This is why the case down in Florida was thrown out, the one with the documents case. This guy, Jack Smith, has no business being there. And so here was Trump on Truth Social. I think he put this on Twitter. I know I've seen it on Twitter, but I don't know if he put this on Truth Social. For 60 days prior to an election, the Department of Injustice is supposed to do absolutely nothing that would taint or interfere with a case. They disobeyed their own rule in favor of complete and total election interference. I did nothing wrong. They did. The case is a scam, just like all the others, including the documents case, which was dismissed. And that's what I'm talking about down there in Florida. So this is, again, look at the timing on this. They released these documents to let everybody see what's involved in this filing, in this motion. just after J.D. Vance trounces Tim Walz in the debate, and Donald Trump is skyrocketing in the polls and in popularity. So they come up with this. Now, is this an October surprise? I guess everything is in play to be called an October surprise, but what they're doing here is obviously they're doing it against Donald Trump. This thing should have been held till after the election. You don't do this 33 days prior to the election. So shame on the Department of Justice. Shame on this Jack Smith character and this judge for releasing those documents. So, Trump rightfully pissed about that. And we know that they're going to do whatever they can to sabotage Trump leading up to the election. Now, we've already started with early voting in some places. Some states have already started with their early voting. And the voting process, you can go now and vote. And they decided to release this while that's going on. So we know that these people are way out of control and they'll do nothing. Now, it's interesting, too, that I've kind of heard the felon talk kind of die down a little bit. They were high on that for a minute, but I think they realized how quickly that backfired on them. They talked about, Trump's the felon, Trump's the felon. What is he the felon of? Nobody can explain the charges. What is he guilty of? Right? They know about the civil case with that battle axe that charged him, Donald Trump, with, he couldn't keep his hands off me in the dressing room. Donald Trump, who could have had any woman he wanted at the time that this incident claimed to happen. This woman's like, Donald Trump couldn't resist me. This lady's full of crap. She goes on the news after she wins this settlement thing. I'll buy you a house. I'll buy you a house. Making jokes of it, talking about, she's a disgusting human being. So anyway, that's not a federal case. What are the charges against Trump? When you talk to somebody, they say, Trump's the felon. Well, what did he actually do? And they feel like idiots because they can't explain it. And when they do, they realize how stupid it is. But they did it just to get anything to stick on Donald Trump, to call him a felon prior to the election. That's all this has ever been about, all it will ever be about, right? Trump, if you make it sound like all these people who feel like, Donald Trump's a criminal. Donald Trump's a criminal. So what did they get him for? What is the crime? Now, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, there's a litany of evidence pointing to crime committed by the Biden crime family, and nobody cares. And you bring it up, they're like, conspiracy theory. There's a whole laptop full of information about the Biden crime family, and everyone's like, that's Russia disinformation, because we decided on the left to have 51 intelligence agents swear that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. So that is etched in the minds of so many people. They don't care about the redaction of that. They don't care that it was proven to be actually Hunter's laptop. It had nothing to do with Russia. The people don't see that. They see that first headline. It's embedded in their mind, embedded in their memory, and that's all they ever know. They know that the Hunter Biden thing, it's questionable, it's a conspiracy theory, and that's all they know about it. Meanwhile, they hammer the same people with the false allegations of Trump right off the hibbity, so that's what's implanted in the people. Trump colluded with Russia. People still to this day believe Trump colluded with Russia. Talk about election deniers. There's like a 24-minute video that someone posted on X of Democrats denying the results of the elections. And it goes on and on and on when you watch this thing. And of course, in 2016, Hillary Clinton constantly denied the results of the election. And they hold on to this January 6th. There was some marquee monumental event. January 6th, which was an obvious staged event. You had feds in the crowd. You had people that were amping up that crowd. You had people shooting rubber bullets into the crowd to amp them up. This whole thing was just a psyop, staged event. And to look at it any other way, you'd have to be an idiot. And they got exactly what they wanted. They got the footage they wanted. Although we still never hear about the pipe bomb. We still never hear about the pipe bombs on January 6th. They refuse to even talk about them. But here's our FBI that our brilliant FBI that investigates everything. They're going to find out everything that we need to know about the Trump assassination attempts. FBI still hasn't told you about the pipe bombs, although we have them right on TV, closed circuit, putting them there. And when I had Darren Beatty on, he brilliantly pointed out so many things, and he's still on it, and we know what's going on. We know the whole thing was a setup. There's no doubt about it. And they keep trying to say, it was 160. The number keeps changing for how many police officers were killed on January 6th. The actual total is 0, but the numbers change. 1, 5, 150 that were hurt. The numbers always change. Here's the facts that we know about January 6th. Number of police officers that died on January 6th, 0. Okay? How many people out there with Trump derangement syndrome really know that? Probably, I would say very few. There's probably very few people that have Trump derangement syndrome that you talk to in your circle that understand that not one police officer died on January 6th. They probably have no idea that that's the truth, because they've been told over and over again that MAGA patriots beat these police officers to death. It's all a lie. But they want you to believe it, and it's etched in your memory now. So the whole thing, we even heard that during the debate. They talk about the January 6th. Talk about January 6th more than they talk about the crime that's actually happening right now. And again, you had all this crime wave that happened in 2020 in Tim Walz's home state during these George Floyd riots. George Floyd, who overdosed on opiates and then caused all this nonsense. Where is Black Lives Matter? Where are they? Did black people stop dying in America? We don't see them anymore. Where are the marches? Do they not care about the issue? Has the issue been resolved? Where is all the hate and all the uprising and all the, we've got to stop this? Is it solved? I don't see any more protests. I don't see any more rallies. I don't see any more riots. There's a lot of black people getting shot and killed around the country every day. I don't see anybody in an uproar about it. Where is it all? Unless it was all phony and fraudulent, which is exactly what it was. You had people get rich off of this George Floyd thing. Rich they got off of it, off of your sympathy. Oh my God, we got to try to solve racial tensions in the country. I'm going to donate some money to it. Oh, good. You help these people buy a home. And then they tell you, oh, Trump's a grifter. You gave to the biggest grift that we've had in 2 decades if you donated a nickel to Black Lives Matter. You gave to the biggest grift that we've had in decades. But they're like, oh no, Trump's just a grifter. You're a conspiracy theorist and a cult follower. They're walking around with their Black Lives Matter banners. Where is them? Where is all of it? They know it was a scam and they got hoodwinked, and then now they don't even, oh yeah, that was just, yeah, we burned down cities and looted stores and caused billions and billions of damages, murdered people, and that was just that thing, That's it, get over it. I would take a January 6th once a year if it meant we never had to have another summer of love, in a heartbeat. And you'd be an idiot to think otherwise. Anyway, they'll do whatever it takes to win, and that's what they're doing. They rush to the front of the story, they get it embedded in the minds of the people, and then all you do is play defense to try to backtrack and get the truth out there. And that's why we keep losing. They win the fight up front, and then we keep trying to win it on the back end. It's the same thing that's happening in the House and the Senate. The Democrats strike first. They get their punch in, and then we play defense. It's the same thing that's happening within the media and all this out here. It's the same shit. Excuse me. All right, so let's do this now. I got Kevin Sorbo joining me on the podcast. Kevin Sorbo tells it like it is. I really appreciate him. He was the actor that played Hercules. He's constantly on the move. He was just in the Reagan movie. He's a hustler. He's always in new projects. He reminds me a lot of my friend Dean Cain. Dean Cain's another guy. These guys are always flying all over the place and doing movies and helping people out. They're great people. Now, I got to put this tweet up on him. I'm going to ask Kevin Sorbo about this because this tweet really caught fire the other day. He puts up, I'll put it up on the board. I wasn't blacklisted from Hollywood. I left because they're all pedos. This got a lot of reaction, so we'll ask him about that. He's a common sense guy, and you'll hear that when we talk. It's an honor to get him on the podcast here. So let's do this.
You're listening to the Alec Lake Show. The future is family.
All right, let's do it. Joining me now, Kevin Sorbo. Welcome to the Alec Lake Show.
Good to be here, sir.
Well, funny, the last time I saw you was down at Mar-a-Lago. We were down there for Dinesh D'Souza's Police State premiere. And I just had Dinesh on last week because he premiered a new movie, which was Vindicating Trump. And so here I am talking to you again. So it's a pleasure to see you again. And just kind of, first of all, I just kind of wanted to get your take here on this vice presidential debate that we saw play out on Tuesday night and where J.D. Vance really took Tim Walz to school. How did you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I found it far more interesting than the presidential debate, that's for sure. So I thought Vance did a great job. I could see certainly at the beginning, Walz just was stumbling, fumbling. He seemed incredibly nervous, and he's out of his element. There's just no question. And who knows what's going to happen with this thing? I mean, I keep telling everybody else. I said, you know what? They cheated in the last election. They're going to cheat even more on this one. So.
It certainly seems like they're setting the stage for that, too. I mean, we've seen this the flux of illegal immigrants come in. They've been able to redistrict so many different areas because they've been able to count them towards the population there, and they count towards the census. So it just seems like that's the play, and not enough. I mean, I've had so many congressmen on here and asked them about it. I know Matt Gaetz was on last week saying that they've done some stuff in states like Georgia, Wisconsin to help, but not enough. It doesn't seem like enough has been done to stop the steal that happened in 2020 from happening again.
The last 3.5 years, where was the GOP getting rid of that? I mean, mail-in voting is a joke. We know it's a joke. It's both sides can cheat. I think the left is more organized in their chaos and their cheating and their illegal moves that they do. So we need to get back to one day of voting. Make it on a weekend so people don't got to miss work. Make it on a Saturday or something. And you got to show up and show your bloody ID. There's nothing racist about an ID, and that's it. That's it. You get one day to vote, and you got to show an ID, and you got to show up in person. Otherwise, forget about it.
Yeah, I agree, and maybe not even instead of making it on a weekend. Instead of we added Juneteenth as a new holiday, federal holiday. Why not instead of that make Election Day a federal holiday so everybody is off and there's no excuse to not be able to go and vote, right? So you don't even have to move it around. You can keep it on a Tuesday, but just make it a holiday so people can get out there and vote.
Yeah, the majority of countries do it on one day. You don't get 6 months to vote to get it in there. And they've already stories I'm hearing already about ballots that are being found and disappearing. I mean, all this stuff is just such a joke. But I think the biggest killer in America is apathy more than anything else. People are just lazy. They're ignorant. The government today treats us far worse than the British monarchy did 250 years ago. We went to war on a 3% tax. I mean, we lose half our income, and then whatever money we get to keep, everything we buy gets the hell taxed out of it as well. People need to wake up and fight back. We have far too many sheep in this country, and I think the start is education from grade school all the way up to universities. We've been indoctrinating kids in the last 20 or 25, 30 years, whatever. It's just accelerated. Oregon now says that they can graduate kids if they can't read, if they can't read or do math, you can still graduate them. It's like, meanwhile, those other countries are engineers and they're just kicking our butts because we're just dumbing down our kids, and it's on purpose. This is a nanny state. They want full control of all our lives and cradle to grave responsibility. They just want you to be a little working bee for them.
Yeah, and even ever since the Department of Education came into the federal government, the education has gone down consistently every year. Where we were number one in reading and math, and now we're like 33 and one, and off the charts in the other one. And to your point there too, I always say, like, if you could take the founding fathers and put them in the DeLorean and bring them to our current state and see what's going on, they'd be looking around and going, what are you guys sitting around for? Why don't you run these people out of town? Why don't you get rid of these people? Because look at what they're doing here. I mean, we're taxed out the ass on everything now. And like you said, just the 3% tax on tea was enough to throw it over. Now it's everything. It's income tax, sales tax, property tax. Every single way you turn, you're getting taxed. And everyone's just like, okay, let's just keep watching sports and flipping TikToks, and no one's doing anything about it.
Yeah, because they just, well, like you said, you're all caught up in their telephones, not paying attention. They don't even know how to relate to anybody anymore, have conversations. Look, I think you brought that time machine. Ben Franklin would go, well, ma'am, I told you Republic if you could keep it. And I was right. You guys couldn't keep it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's sad to see. And now we have Kamala Harris now. Is that everything about this lady is fake, right? She was a fake vice president because she was given the job because of a DEI. She was a woman of color. That's why she got the position. And then she becomes the candidate, and she's a fake candidate. Nobody voted for her. And I guarantee if Trump beats her, which I expect him to do, and she decided to run again in 2028, she wouldn't even make the ticket. She wouldn't even win in the primary. She'd come in dead last again like she did in 2020. She's unelectable. Nobody asked for her. She was shoved onto the people, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is democracy. We're going to vote for who you gave us.
Well, this just proves anyone can become president of America. I mean, virtually anyone. And you're right. She didn't even make it to Iowa. Of the dozen or what I have, 13 people on that stage 4 years ago until it finally went to Biden. She was the first to go. Nobody even gave a crap about her. Look, when I lived in California, they jokingly called her casting couch Kamala. You know, we all know that in San Francisco and Sacramento, she slept her way through things. They make fun of Trump and all whatever affairs or whatever he had. What about Kamala? And she did nothing as a vice president, nothing. And now she's blaming Trump for the 15 to 20 million people coming across the border. I mean, but you can say anything, as you know, because people are ignorant. People are stupid. They're uneducated. They do not pay attention to the reality of the situation. They've had 10 years to beat up on Trump and call him an evil, evil person, call him a Nazi. In 10 years, and before those 10 years happened, they wanted him all the late night talk shows. Oh, Donald Trump, will you come do a cameo on my movie and TV show? They loved the guy. The minute he said he used to be a registered Democrat, the minute he went down the other road, they went after him and just lied and lied and lied. I remember seeing a video 4 or 5 years ago with Pelosi, and she's talking to the media, and they're recording her, and she says, "Oh, we can go after anybody and just make stuff up. We make it up, and you guys make it become reality." She admitted to it right there on camera.
You know, and it's sad to watch. And to your point, too, Trump put out that book of all the letters that people wrote to him over the years. And you have it in there like Oprah Winfrey wrote this hard-telling letter. Oh, you treat people like a king. You're the best. Now, all of a sudden, they act like they've always hated Trump their whole life. And it's this revisionist history that they have about Donald Trump. And it really, here's the thing, though, Kevin, too, is that, you know, we talk about this rhetoric. They fix the elections against him. They're trying to kill him all the time. And the people on the left feel like this is justified. They feel like Trump is that bad. He is Hitler reborn. He is Putin. He's Putin's friend. We have to take him out. So anything they do, whether it's illegal or whether they make it up, they feel like, hey, it's justified, whatever it takes to take Trump down. And that's the big issue that the media has implanted in these people.
Well, who honestly believes that Putin wants Trump in office?
Right.
He doesn't want Trump in office. You look at the axis of evil, whatever that may be, from North Korea to, you know, Venezuela to whatever it may be. They don't want him in there because they know he's a tough guy. They know that he is no BS, and he'll say, guys, this is the way it's going to be. And to sit there with this whole Russian collusion thing and to do all that bogus stuff, all those guys should just be in prison for what they've been talking about, what they're doing. We all know what's going on. And they treat these 2 assassination attempts like a fender bender in a parking lot. We all damn well know who's behind it. We all know it. No one's saying it, but people know who's behind it.
Yeah, and it even raises more eyebrows. I've had several different congressmen on here to talk about this. You have, and I've had a couple of Navy SEALs to talk about it as well, too. Rob O'Neill was on, a Navy SEAL sniper.
Sure.
You know, and here it is. You have a guy in Congress, so like Eli Crane, who I've had on the show, who is a Navy SEAL sniper, and you don't put him on the investigation along with Congressman Mills to investigate what happened there in Butler. And it's like, well, if you have these guys that are there that are so experienced in this, why wouldn't you put them on the investigation? It's almost like they don't want you to get to the bottom of this, because at the bottom of it is them. And so that's the big issue. And so now Trump is triumphantly going back into Butler. I'm going to be there for this rally on Saturday, which I think is going to be just one of the greatest moments to see him come back to that stage and finish that speech. So what was your take on on him going back into Butler and these assassination attempts on Trump?
Good for him. I think, look at this guy. This guy is amazing. If you look at anybody who ran for office, I don't care if they had a 1-term president or 2-term, they aged like 20 years in those 4 to 8 years. This guy still looks exactly like he did 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And because I think because of all the attacks and as a businessman, all the people going after him, all this kind of stuff, it's water on the back of a duck. You know, the guy he doesn't care. He moves on. He does this thing. I've golfed him at that course before at Trump International. I know that course very well. I know the protocol. I know what goes on with the six Secret Service guys. And there's always 2 guys go 1 hole ahead. So those guys were doing their job. And it's amazing. But once again, we treat it like nothing, like it's no big deal. And I get people, you know, attack, oh, well, yeah, the guy should have died and all this kind of stuff. I mean, we're celebrating because they celebrate this hate and anger because it's perpetuated by the media, by the movies, by television, by what Washington D.C. and what they're doing, and people just get used to it, and they sit there. And right now, we have, I think, like I told you, the biggest killer is apathy right now. But this anger and this divisiveness, and they blame Trump for the attempts on his life for the stuff he says. No, it's blamed on. Look at how many Democrats out there over the years said, look. If you ever see a Republican in a restaurant, you give them a hard time. You go after them. You don't, you fight. I was talking to somebody the other day. I do a lot of pro-life speaking events. And I said, if you watch the pro-choice people, the choices letting a baby live or killing it, those great choices, they're angry as they march down along the mall there in D.C. And then they have the people that are pro-life, and it's peaceful. They're singing songs. They're laughing. They're smiling. They're celebrating God. They're celebrating, life. And the difference is unbelievable. We have such an evil component right now in America, and we got to change stuff right now. And I hope that he gets in. I hope that people fight back. I wish people of church vote. It's like over 75% of Christians don't even vote. It's insane to me that they're letting this thing taken away. And if you don't vote, that's a vote for Kamala.
Yeah, 100%. And just to your point there, I'm curious to get your take. I thought J.D. Vance handled the abortion question very well because there has been a problem with the
Yeah.
Republican Party on their stance on abortion. And I think he called out Tim Walz for in Minnesota. He signed that law where they do not have to resuscitate the baby on a botched abortion. He says, oh, no, that's not true. Doesn't back it up with any facts. Just says, they fact checked somebody else and Trump about it. So he didn't give an answer, but that is exactly what the bill says. They have abortion up to the ninth month. These people are vicious.
Well, during the BLM and the destruction of not only Minneapolis, what kind of started, he just had to let it burn. And the mayor supposedly said, hey, I need the National Guard down here. No, we'll just let it burn. I mean, these guys are just, if you remember, what was it? On the debate 4 years ago with Biden said, Antifa is an idea.
Right.
What the hell? The idea is destruction. They say they're against fascism. They are the fascists. And, take your bloody mask off. These guys are a bunch of wusses, and they're walking around with their guns. They got their mask on. They are such pussies when it comes, one-on-one, let's see where they end up. I bet, that's their little gang and stuff like it, but we let this happen. Our government has to make that thing stop because it's just stupid what they're letting them do to people's businesses and to the streets of cities. And all these major cities are run by Democrats.
Right. They've been run by Democrats for decades. And you talk about, you have this mob mentality where they're doing these smash and grabs in these stores. And now it's become, they don't even prosecute or pursue these people. So all these stores are closing down. They can't handle it. Then you want to go in and buy like toothpaste or a razor blade. It's locked up behind bulletproof glass. And everyone's like, oh, let's just keep voting for these people that are destroying this neighborhood. And they keep pandering to the black community. Kamala Harris now, she talks like a Southern black lady. She has the Southern belle accent. And she's pandering to the black community. Yet the black community have not gotten any better in any of these communities under Barack Obama, under Joe Biden. They've done nothing for the black community, yet they keep pandering every 4 years to them.
Well, I keep saying all the time, how bad does it have to get for people to change their vote? So that makes me wonder, how honest is the voting system if these people keep getting in office? Because seriously, I'm glad that there's some African Americans out there, like I know Charles Barkley starting to say stuff saying, guys, we've been voting them in for 60 years, and our education is not getting better. Our neighborhoods aren't getting any better. You think the cops go down Chicago? I mean, how many shootings are there every single week in Chicago? And that's supposed to be the biggest gun-free state, city in the whole country. None of it makes any sense to me. People, that just reinforced the fact that people are absolutely insane. And all they care about is we have Pride Month. Where the hell did Pride Month come from?
Yeah.
What is that to be proud of? That their sexual appetites? I work with gay people all the time in business for 40 years. You won't find one that says I was evil to them. But to give them a month and we give our vets 1 day, none of that makes any sense.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, and getting on that, you had a tweet the other day that went viral. I think 14 million hits on this thing. I didn't get blacklisted from Hollywood. I left because they're all pedos. And so, I mean, it seems like this is an uncommon knowledge that everybody has that expects this. But what explain this tweet to everybody.
Well, more and more, obviously, it's meant in good humor and joke. I do a lot of sarcastic, but there's a lot of truth to it as well. Not only the P. Diddy thing, but it seems like every month we got another guy that comes out. We know there's a list for Pedo Island, but nobody's talking about that list. We got his right-hand woman now is in jail for the last couple of years. We know that she gave a list of names, but they're not letting those names out. And it's interesting. So, I made it for a joke. I'm sure 10% of the people are screaming at me, but there's 90% that love what I posted. And that's what I do. Look, when I said, you want to get rid of COVID, tell the Clintons that COVID's got something on them, because it'll mysteriously commit suicide.
And that's what happens. That's what we're all thinking is going to happen with P. Diddy here. I think they took him off the suicide watch. But my take was this, that they didn't arrest P. Diddy because they wanted to get everybody involved in this. They got P. Diddy because they want to protect everybody that's involved in this, because we never do. How many years ago was it the Epstein thing? And we don't get any names. There's all these people that participated in it, people that we're probably cheering on the sports stage or voting for in the political world or cheering for in movies. And we have no idea who these people are. And it's like, what is it going to take? And I pray to God that Trump gets in there. And one of the first things he does is say, here's the list. I'm publishing it everywhere. And here's in his front page of the paper. Here's every name on the freaking list, because that's what we deserve as the American people.
Yeah, well, people want to know. But once again, they know, because their hypocrisy is so amazing. They can say my favorite color is blue and you got on tape, and the next day say, no, I didn't take that. Say that you took that out of context. I mean, it's so ridiculous. But they know if they just get other things to distract people, then that will just slowly go away. Because a lot of people don't even think about it anymore. You're talking about it. I'm talking about it. We know it exists. Why are they not doing it? Because we know why they're not doing it. Because there's too many people that are running the country that have the power, and we're all just a bunch of puppets. People need to look at, like, you look at George Carlin stuff for the last 5 years of his life. And I'm sure he was a liberal, voted Democrat, but he was very realistic with his comedy, attacking the ridiculousness of America's government and America's industry.
Yeah, we're all kind of sick and tired of seeing it. And almost, like you said, some of that stuff you watch, especially when he talks about the climate change stuff, all rings true now. Because they talked about it. They spent more time talking about climate change last night than crime. Crime got a few seconds, and climate change got several minutes. And it's like the climate change thing is such a scam. And so many people buy into it. If there was no money to be made in climate change, you'd never hear another word about it ever again. The only reason you hear about it is because there's multi-millions of dollars being made because of this scam.
If you and I were smarter, we would have followed whatever Al Gore put his money in when he first came out with Inconvenient Truth, because I got inconvenient facts. I got a documentary called Climate Hustle 2. I'd like people to check that out. Hear the other side of the story. I call climate change weather. It's what it is. We don't know what, centuries of weather is like. It's insane that they use this. Everybody use, not every government. It's, in 2000, California and Florida gonna be underwater. Then they moved it to 2010. Then they moved to 2020. They just keep moving the bar, and they keep brainwashing kids through our public education, starting at kindergarten, saying, oh yeah, it's bad out there, it's bad. There's now, there was a chart that just came out now saying we're dangerously low. In fact, we want carbon emissions to be higher than they should be. But once again, people are like, listen to, like that Norwegian, Swedish Thunberg chick or whatever. Yeah. She's the expert on this stuff. And give all the money to the banks so they can solve this problem. The problem, give me a break. Do you think China cares about the problem? You think India cares about the problem? We're the most green country in the world, and it's not making any things better, or it's actually making things worse as far as I'm understanding from the scientists on the other side of that issue.
And that Greta Thunberg, she had the one viral moment where she said, "How dare you?" And they made her a superstar from that. Now she's the expert on everything. She's pretending to get arrested. I mean, she looks just as phony as Kamala Harris. Well, last thing I really wanted to get your take on here too, Kevin, is because I think that masculinity obviously has been under attack for so many years now, especially in Hollywood, the way that they've emasculated men and make them all womenized and stuff. This Doug Emhoff, the first gentleman, now we know he slept with the nanny and impregnated her when he was his first wife there before Kamala. Now it turns out that he was smacking around his ex-girlfriend. He assaulted her. And so you had Jen Psaki just recently say, oh, you're reshaping the way people view masculinity. He's like the sex symbol. So what's your take on what's happening to masculinity in this country?
That's a joke. My son goes to the gyms and works out with shirts that say embrace masculinity. So I love it. I'm seeing more and more videos now from these liberal women whining about the men they're meeting and say, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to go over and date a conservative because they're more real men than what the Democrat Party is. And there's a lot of truth to that as well. I mean, who do you want? And if the crap hits the fan and you really need your life saved, who do you want? You want some wimpy a Democrat guy, or do you want a guy that is a real man, that's a real action guy, that's somebody that's going to take control of the situation? And 9 out of 10 of those times, that's a conservative. That's a conservative male. There's no question about that. And why we're trying to do this, it's just, to me, it's just more, they want more power. They want more control over our lives. And the way to do that is wimpify men so they won't fight back, because they won't fight back. And we need to not be afraid of it. Look, I got 2 books out there, 2 Brave books. One's called The Test of Manhood. It's about letting boys grow up to be strong men, strong providers for the family, for the community. And also the other one deals with the bare essentials of fatherhood, the importance of fathers in the family. Because we have a lot of single mothers raising kids right now. And there's no father to give the opposite sort of importance, what they need growing up.
Yeah, there's no question that the fatherless, I mean, my other show, First Class Fatherhood, deals extensively on that exact issue. And that's the number one social issue we have that's destroying so much of our country. Not only have you have the heavenly father that's been removed from society, but you have the father in the home that's not there no more. And those two things combined are really crushing our and I love the Brave Book series. I've had Trent Tolbert on, done interviews with him, a lot of the other authors. It's great because they need this type of material, because all they're getting is told that you don't have to be a boy. You don't have to stay a boy. You could become a girl. And that's the books that they're getting in school that we're trying to take out of, and they're like, oh, you're book burners and you're book banning. And it's like, no, we just want to get this shit away from our kids. Parents are sick and tired of seeing the same stuff, so at least they have some kind of alternative. You don't see the Brave books though in the school library where they belong, and that's the type of material they should be getting.
Oh yeah, and they complain about that, and yet at the same time they want to rewrite history. They want to tear down statues. They want to get rid of books that they deem, oh, these are bad. The kids can't read this ones, but they're okay showing a third grader, cartoon drawings of how to give oral sex to one boy to another boy. I mean, this is just, it is sickening and it's evil, and we need to disband the NEA. We need to get rid of it. It's horrible. We need to privatize public education. Somehow, somewhere, there's businessmen out there that make this much, much better than what we're doing to right now. Then one of the blessings of COVID is 2 million more families said enough is enough, and they're now homeschooling their kids. My wife's a homeschool advocate. That's what she does a lot. She's got her 5th book that just came out on it. She just got an award up in Washington, D.C. with a couple of other women. She was awarded for her world in the home education world. And, people... Stop using public education as a babysitting service for your children, because it's unbelievable and sick what's happening to kids in our schools. They are, my boys, my girl, they're tough as nails. They're growing up. They're going to be real leaders, and they are already really, but they're on the right path. And a lot of that has to do with, certainly what the homeschooling they had at home here, but they have a very common sense point of view of what's happening in the world.
Well, they also have a first-class father. I met your son down in Mar-a-Lago last year. Great, awesome kid. And so I know you mentioned there you had Climate Change Hustle too. What else are you working on? What do you got coming out right now that we could be look forward to here,
Well,
Ken?
I had a movie that's just come out streaming. I was in theaters for a while called The Firing Squad with Cuba Gooding Jr. It's a true story set in an Indonesian prison. And then I'm in the Reagan movie, Dennis Quaid. Unfortunately, it took out about 15 minutes of my scenes because the movie was like 4 hours long initially. So I played the pastor to the younger Reagan, played by 2 other different actors. And then they said, we got to get to the story with Dennis Quaid. So they kind of moved on. Really, really good movie. I hope people get a chance to see it. I've got 4 movies in post-production. I got 3 documentaries coming out. I'm about to leave for India and Thailand to shoot another movie. So I'm staying busy without Hollywood. I'm doing just fine.
Man, I love the hustle, Kevin. I would love to follow you on social as well. I'd love to have you on again back down the line anytime. Kevin Sorbo, thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time today on the Alec Lace Show.
Thank you. Go to sorbostudios.com, sorbostudios.com, and follow me at ksorbs on Twitter. X.
I got the link down below. Thank you, Kev. All right, honored to have Kevin Sorbo join me on the podcast. What did you guys think about the interview? Hit me with a comment down below. If you're enjoying the podcast, don't forget to hit the like button, follow, and subscribe no matter where you're listening, whatever platform that you choose to listen to the show. Please at least subscribe, follow, and share. That's all I can ask. But Kevin Sorbo is awesome. He's another guy that you can't be conservative in Hollywood, and God only knows what is the real story going on with all these people and what they have gotten away with, right? We talk about the Epstein stuff. We talk about the P. Diddy stuff. Are we ever going to know? Absolutely not. Hollywood has been corrupted with this stuff since its onset, and we're never going to get to it because there's too much money at stake, too many billions and billions of dollars, too much control in Hollywood, right? I wanted to share this because we're talking about this. I want to play this clip because this went viral several times on Twitter. This is Shirley Temple, an older Shirley Temple, talking about what happened to her when she was a kid in Hollywood. Everybody knows she's probably the most famous child actor of all time, right? Or actress, a famous child star of all time. And listen to what she went through as a child actress. Take a listen.
When I left Fox, I went to MGM for one picture. Thank goodness, only one. And when I got there with my mother, we were separated. She went into the office of Louis B. Mayer, and I went into the office of Arthur Freed. And he was going to talk to me about a movie he wanted to put me in. I'm 12 years old, And I thought he was a producer, but instead he was an exhibitor. And I'd never seen anyone naked before, except myself. So I had no clue about what was happening. And so it struck me so funny, I laughed at him. And I laughed uproariously. I had tears, and he got infuriated. And he said, out, 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 go.
Did you tell your mother?
Well, I was very quiet. I went down and met her in the lobby of the administration building. She came out very quietly from Louis B. Mayer's office, and we walked hand in hand silently to the car, which was unusual. We got in the car driving home. I said, Mom, you won't believe what happened to me. And I told her what happened, and she got kind of quiet, and she said, well, you don't know what happened to me. And Louis B. Mayer wasn't as bad as Freed was to me. But he came on to my mother. And so we both decided that we didn't like MGM much. It was, it was better at Fox.
And it's funny how this is just dismissed, right? It's disgusting to hear this, but it's just kind of like laughed off and dismissed, like, well, that's Hollywood. Like, that's what you got to do. These people should have been locked up and the key should have been thrown away, or they should have been executed for what they were doing. Who knows how much worse it had to be back in those days when you didn't have an ability to record stuff like you do with the phone, or take videos, or get evidence, and have whistleblowers. I mean, how many people were rubbed out because they found out something, or they threatened to shut something down? We have no idea, right? A lot of people died young in Hollywood. Do we know why? People are exposed to some of this stuff. We're never going to get to the bottom of it. P. Diddy, we're not going to get it. I've talked about this before. They got P. Diddy arrested, just like I said to Kevin Sorbo, so they can protect the people that are involved in all this stuff. We never get an answer to this. It's too big. It's billions and billions of dollars. It's probably the most lucrative illegal trade in the world is child sex trafficking. It's probably overtaken drugs by now. I mean, it's enormous. Now, while they're getting the billions and the diamonds, what are you getting? Well, if you were a victim of Hurricane Helene, you're getting $750. That's right. Kamala Harris is giving you the Maui treatment. So if you lost your home and you lost everything and you're sitting there without a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, Kamala Harris is going to give you 750 smackaroos. Here she is.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met, such as food, baby formula, and the like. And you can apply now for anyone who's watching this who has been affected. There are FEMA personnel who are going door to door to interact personally with folks, especially those who do not have electricity. But also that aid, if you have electricity, can be applied for online. And I encourage people to do that. FEMA will just basically verify your address, and then the process should take hold.
There's your federal government coming to assistance. Now, you can file for that online. Okay, everybody lost power. Millions of people are without power. Well, if you have access to electricity, you could file it online. Well, how does that help any of these people? The only people that have cell service are the ones that, the only people that have Wi-Fi were helped out by Elon Musk with his Starlink. Everybody else is in the dark. And she's like, oh, you could file online. $750. We're going to hit. Now you could file for other assistance down the line. You know how long that's going to take for the federal government to help you out with all this stuff? We went through this when Sandy happened here. Same thing. The federal government sucks when it comes to that. So $750. When are you going to get the $750? By the time the next hurricane hits, the people in Maui went through this same thing. But meanwhile, what does the federal, just within the last couple of weeks here, what has the federal government released money to? What have they given the money to? Well, just recently, $8.7 billion of military aid for Israel, $8 billion of military aid for Ukraine, $567 million, which is $500 million in military aid for Taiwan. We know we've given over $200 billion to Ukraine. We know that the federal government is paying the salaries of the first responders in Ukraine, which is over 57,000 first responders. We, the taxpayers of the United States, are paying the salaries of those people in Ukraine. And if you don't know that, go and look it up. Give me the fact check like I'm on CBS here. Fact check me on it. We're paying the salaries of the first responders in Ukraine. We're paying the pensions of workers in Ukraine. But we're giving $750 to the people that just lost everything in the hurricane. And we wonder why we think the federal government is garbage. You have illegal aliens that are coming in across Kamala Harris's wide open border, and they're getting $10,000 on a prepaid card. $10,000 they're getting. You lost everything in the hurricane, here's $750. Does that piss you off as an American? This is why we keep trying to say America first. Take care of the American citizen. The American citizen is left behind. What a disgrace. How could you even, and you even look, when you look at the video of Kamala Harris, like thankfully she's not wearing her $66,000 necklace. I mean, unless it's tucked under the shirt there. Maybe it's under there with her wired headset because she hasn't figured out how to plug it into her phone. But she's not wearing the $66,000 necklace. And, she doesn't seem all chipper and all like, oh, we're giving you, because she has to know how stupid. This is what we're giving them, $750? Who's authorizing this? People are doing more for other people. The Good Samaritan is doing more for the people than the federal government because they need it now, right away. You're going to file for this and then you're going to see it in 2 months. And you'll get it in a check in the mail to the house that doesn't exist anymore. Where are you going to mail it to? I don't know. The whole thing makes you angry and sick, but that's what we're dealing with here. So. All right, I'm going to keep it short on you guys here today. I was grateful that Kevin Sorbo stopped by the podcast. That was pretty cool. Hit you guys again. I hit you with the 3 episodes, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm going to try to keep that going until Election Day. Make sure you bring it back here next week. I'll be hitting you guys. I'm trying to do my best to schedule with guests. Follow me on X at Alec Lace to find out all the guest announcements. And don't forget, if you want to save some money on the MyPillow products, Mike Lindell is helping me out with this show, sponsoring the show. So get over to MyPillow. You know they're the best products on the market. Mike Lindell, he's been a blessing to me and the show. And I know anybody out there that has the MyPillow products know they're the real deal. They're quality stuff. So get over to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code FATHERHOOD. You'll support the show, and you're going to save money on the MyPillow products. So that's how this works, right? So go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code FATHERHOOD. Check out the hundreds of items that are available on there. They're the best in the business. Save some money and support the show while you're doing it. Oh, and don't forget, Donald Trump is returning to the scene of the crime October 5th. This Saturday, he's going back to Butler, Pennsylvania, where they tried to kill him. They shot him. They hit him in the ear. They didn't kill him. He rose up triumphantly, yelling, "Fight, fight, fight." It was one of the most iconic moments in political history, and Donald Trump is heading right back there to Butler, and I, yours truly, will be there with him. I'm going to go there, get some content for the show. I'm going to talk to the rally goers, talk to the Trump supporters, and bring you whatever content I can. I'm bringing one of my sons with me. He's going to be my cameraman. So we're going to bang it out and see what we can get, see who we run into out there. So follow me on X at Alec Lace, because that's where I'll post the short videos as I get them. I may go live on Rumble, or I may go live on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube at Alec Lace as well, the Alec Lace channel over there. I may just post the short videos. I don't know if I'm going to go live on Rumble or not. So definitely follow me on X, because that's where I'll be posting the short videos of it. And I will put everything I have together for Tuesday's episode when I go live on Rumble, and I'll put it all together for you. But I will be in attendance at the Trump rally this Saturday, October 5th in Butler, Pennsylvania. So make sure you check that out. All right, and don't forget to bring it back here. Tuesday, I'll be going live on Rumble at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow me on X at Alec Lace for all the upcoming guest announcements. And I'll be back here next week, guys. So thank you for tuning in. God bless all you listeners out there. God bless all you parents. God bless our first responders, our military, our veterans. God bless America. And I will catch you guys next week. Have a good weekend.
You're listening to the Alec Lace Show. The future is family.
Promo code FATHERHOOD. Go to mypillow.com, and everything we have on sale there. Actually, we brought in the percale sheets. The queen size, $34.98 a set. King size, $39.98 a set. That's unheard of. It's the lowest price in history. And everything else on there that we have, you can save up to 80%. We don't have any middlemen. We don't have box stores and stuff. They canceled on MyPillow. They even canceled my book to get my book out, you know. So use that promo code FATHERHOOD, everybody, and please help us out, and thanks for ones that you have already helped. And by the way, you'll be helping yourself to the best sleep in history, period.
I got to tell you, that mattress topper is the best product I have in the house, Mike, no doubt.
And that turns any bed into the best bed in history. If you've got an old bed, new bed, doesn't matter. You put the mattress topper on there, and it changes everything. You need a different input to get a different output. People waking up every day going, maybe my bed will be better than night. No, you need a MyPillow mattress.